right, everybody, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the Fed cut stimulus. But then, does that really matter? The market seems to like it, and the market is moving up. And as we suspected, this is the correct zone, and it looks like everything is working out pretty much along the lines of normality. So the market likes it. Let's think about what happened with the Fed quickly here. We have about 20 or 18 minutes till the close. Huge bullish move here. Let's just put in perspective of where exactly we are in comparison to yesterday's move. Most people should be looking at this as a big signal. Of course, you've got here your previous high. You've obviously got the 4,600, which we've detailed several times has been a great support, and we're seeing that movement through. Now we'll go on and test this high here, which is pretty much the current resistance, and we'll find out how the next day trades. I mean, we do still have quadruple witching. Might be like, this is the sugar rush, move down a little bit, quadruple witching, and then hopefully move back through. Pretty good, not too bad. Fed signals 3 rate hikes, it sounds like. If we go and have a look here, 3 rate hikes, inflation targets have been met. And of course, they're basically saying they're going to do those rate hikes throughout the year. We also see here that we get the March as the date. And it seems like the market, again, has already priced in much worse than this. And it was going to do this anyway. Look, the Fed is not there to smash the markets, guys. It's not in their best interest. Their best interest, of course, one of their jobs was this one here. September, the unemployment rate would fall to 3.5% is what they believe, nearing, if not exceeding, their full employment target, which is one of the targets that they've talked about since the beginning of the pandemic. They said, we want to get back to this full employment idea. And that is one of their targets. So it looks like the normalizing policy is currently leading to some greens. S&P 500, as we mentioned, that's where we're at. It's like a massive sugar pill rush here as it turned around. And there was plenty of good technicals here. Look at this base formation that we got today. If we go down to the 15-minute, I'm sure many people would have been triggering off on this. Not only was it the previous day's high, but we had a double bottom basically into that point. We see that initial rally, obviously a little bit of a pullback might scare some people, and then boom, straight into the rally. And why may it sell off just here near the close? Purely just because it's hit the profit. Day traders might be like, you know what? What a day. Fantastic. I'm feeling great. And we're getting that resistance. Let's have a look at the NDX. Check out the Nasdaq. Got a super sticker coming in from Sandollar77. Always love you, Sandollar. Thank you very much for your support. Really appreciate it. Another double bottom here on NDX. Exact same move. Market goes slightly bearish there for a second. Fully reverses. Closes above. Signals buying for day traders. And then the rest is history. We get that full movement through there. It's very good. Sandollar says, thank you, Tom, for your support and assistance. No worries, man. It's all good. CME says, here comes Santa. Well, hopefully. I mean, we've got certainly some nice moves here. And then we have another question here from Andre. He says, double bottom forming on IWM. Well, let's have a look at IWM here. A little bit weaker here today than the other two indices. But IWM can take some time to get fired up. We know this rejection candle is fairly big. So once we get through there and we get through this rejection candle, then that will be a fairly big deal. I think partly when you think about it, if you have 3 interest rate hikes, we're taking away some of the support of the economy. Maybe that hurts the IWM, the smaller companies, a little bit more. But I have a feeling this one also will improve. And as it improves, if we breach this zone, actually get a daily close here today, that will be the first sign of improvement. The second sign of improvement, of course, is through the 220 and the huge double bottom that we'll be looking at now coming into Christmas. Should this continue to rally, which probably will, then is through the 226. So yeah, IWM is going to be one to watch, and we'll watch all these key levels together. So the closure has bought greens across the board. Things like the biotech industry have gone up quite a lot. You'll notice here the horrors like Barber and JD continue to go down. That's why sometimes we don't touch them. Roku's obviously coming off its sugar rush the other day. It's down 8% actually today. But many companies here on the right-hand side are doing very well. LLY actually is up 10%. Chewy's back 2.97. And it looks like almost everything that you guys like is moving fairly well. I mean, PLTR is really still stuck down there. But we do have some nice bases that could be forming in the next couple of days. So if we get the green light on the markets, Things like PayPal, Lightning Bolt will be in play, accumulation base will be done, 20 moving average will be belted through and smashed. These are the types of stocks that many of you have been looking at. DKNG, another one that's on its lows. It's currently on its lows, but what happens if it improves and double bottoms? So much opportunity coming up should some of these things occur. I mean, here's a bottom, obviously a resistance, may seem far away percentage-wise, but if this is the signal and if this does end up going up, we've got some great zones. So it's very good. Marvin Martian says, good morning. Good job on the coffee, $10. Thank you very much. Tom will need it this morning after that late night. Yeah, that's true. Definitely an overreaction. Yes, probably. It's a bit of a sugar rush. Initial sugar rush led by slight decline, you would think. And then we hopefully will move through here. NVIDIA Lightning today. Up, says Edwin. Let's have a look. Thank you very much to the 300 people joining us as well. If you guys could smash the like button if you've enjoyed the content this week and recently, that would help us out. Oh, this is actually a pretty decent pattern here. So it's come down, it's closed below, and then it's done a big rally here, 6.15%. It's going to hit this 20 as well. Just wondering. See, I mean, so many things hitting resistance. NVIDIA. $50 moving average, 20 moving average resistance today. Probably find some sell-off here. Bit of a guess, but yeah. Big rally, drops to the resistance. That's where previously there was a little bit of buying support. So you could see this being that kind of high level. Apple back to 178. Amazon up 1.62%. Good news here. This would be fantastic if we can hold this level. Obviously, another double bottom capability here on a stock. So there's a lot of stuff. I mean, you can just see it. Across the board, there is a lot of stocks that are in the favorites of many people in the retail community that are really, really kicking ass. And let's just have a look here at which sector actually is running the most through today's news. I'm just loading up the sectors right now for you guys. Looks like semiconductors, 3.18% on semiconductors, tech, biotech, and then XLV. There you go. So we've got semiconductors up 3.18% for the session so far. XLK, tech, the biotech's doing really well. Healthcare is doing really well. And actually, we have all of the materials, the financials, and the energy not doing so well for the session. Maybe they were expecting a little bit more rate hikes. Maybe 4 rate hikes was the expectation for a lot of these stocks, I think, moving into next year. All right, let's take some questions here. Tom, what are the symbol watermarks on these charts? Or where are they? It's because I had a refresh. So I will bring them back for you. There you go. Have to save this. Unfortunately, what happened is I must have lost power through the night and it refreshed everything. What side is that? What was Coifin? Is IWM going to get stuck below the moving averages? Well, IWM will lag initially. It will need the rest of the market to hold. So it could get stuck underneath here. This is where your worry is. Obviously, you've got the 50 exponential, 20 exponential, 200 simple, all sitting around the same zone. So that's going to be where that main concern is. NVAX is likely to get EMA approval this week. Other approvals will start coming like dominoes falling. Price is 170-ish and go all past 331, says Scott Saunders. Well, approval is a big deal here. PS3 pawns. I love semiconductors, over 1/3 of my portfolio. Yeah, so semiconductors do quite well. And it's not like it's going anywhere as an industry. You just got to be careful of the valuations. So we're about 8 minutes off the close here. It does look like things are holding. Let's have a look at some of the other markets. We've got gold, did a fake break to the downside, and then has come back quite nicely, back into the range, which is good. Silver, obviously, another one that's reversing here with a bullish hammer. We've got DXY dropping here a little bit, started rallying, and then dropped. It hit the resistance. Actually, it would have been a great day trade, wouldn't it? Selling off there. Beautiful day trade after that bullish move. Bang, straight into this zone. And then it's come back down. So that's good news for many traders out there. And the VIX finally has got above below 20, which is another good sign. So there's a lot of positive signs here in the market, and it is truly flying here. 1.39% US 500, US 100 again up 2% at this stage. And the crypto market, which we'll look at shortly, is up quite heavily. Tesla a little bit laggy, 1.38%, went down to 930, not quite the 900 today, but it went down again and then it's rebounded. That's 2 weeks now that have caused off this zone. We're still in what I would call neutral area for traders because we're not above 1,000 and we're not at 900. Why is ADA always underperforming during the rush? Mina, HNT, AVAX, Sol, and Matic all outperforms it. Well, you'll notice that ADA didn't used to come back the weakest, Andy, and this is just the nature of human psychology. Remember, we talk about elasticity in the crypto markets. Basically, the idea is if something's been hot recently, then when it drops hard, it will usually come back hard because many people in the community are still looking at that stock. They still believe that crypto. They still believe in that idea. ADA was once a crypto that could do no wrong, and it moved up heavily after crashes, and you saw that kind of move. The same thing goes with stocks in the market. Look at NVIDIA's big resurgence today. It's up 6%. It's had a very nice run recently. Everyone's looking at it. That's why it's of interest. It's like a stock of interest at this stage. And that goes across the board. If you ever see something that's really hot, the market drops really hard, they'll come back fairly hard. Look at AMD. AMD's come back 7.65%. Now, I'm surprised this particular one's going up so much realistically, but it's right at resistance coming into the close. It's had some very strong buying recently, and it gets the green light and bang, there it goes. 950 being good support for Tesla so far. We'll see if it holds up after more Elon selling. That's right, Finken. Is it time to pick up these growth stocks? They've been so badly hit in the last month. Daryl, you obviously have to make your own decision, but you're starting to see bases and you're starting to see the market kind of, digest the news of the FOMC, which, as we know, is one of the bigger bits of news. We still have quad witching event, so we still have the quad witching. As we know, that usually just means options expiries create some volatility, and that usually happens actually on the Thursday session. So we'll talk about that today in terms of increased volatility that comes off that. But yes, many of these things are bottoming. If you want to be patient, you would wait for the patterns. If you don't want to be patient, you would look at the current supports and say, well, what's my worst case scenario? If I'm placing a trade, every trade should have an entry, a TP, and a stop loss. Costco breaking out, says PK Subban. That's cool. Seems like Wall Street is buying into the close. Yeah, they're buying a little bit. Let's have a look at the SPX here. A few minutes to go. We're just right around that resistance. So this is where they're going to push it to, right around here. 47.13. What are we at the moment? Let's get the label on. 47.06. So hopefully you guys see how the markets usually react. We talked about the gap fill. We talked about the 38.2 fib. We talked about the 4,600. And you didn't even have to necessarily believe in any of those levels. All you had to do was just be on the smaller time frames today, see the news come out, it closes, double bottoms, Nasdaq, SP, and take the signal. That's really it's that simple. You just had to be reactionary to the news today once it had come out. Remember, if you tried to interpret that news, how many people would misinterpret that news, guys? Let's ask the community. How many people would say, whoa, 3 interest rate hikes, we're going down? but you'll find the market does what the market wants to, and it often acts very pessimistic or optimistic. Let's have a look at some of our other favorite sectors. Let's look at the solar sector. How's that going at the moment? Is that creating some wicks? It looks like it is. It's come back down to the. Can you believe it went all the way to 78 again? So this sector blew off 78, went all the way back down to it. I mean, just to put you in perspective, this is the solar sector. It went down 19.8. It was actually 22.7% down at one point after creating that big movement. So it's gone all the way back down to 78, and now it's wick purchasing off this level. So quite nice. Got Brandon Levens, $8. Hey, Tom, what are your thoughts on BTC as an inflation hedge? Meh. Narrative making a comeback following the FOMC. Also, how are Riot's technicals? All right, we'll check out Riot in a second. But as you know, I'm going to tell you always one thing about Riot. It's just basically just follow the crypto itself. And that will usually lead to whether Riot is good or not. And we'll talk about Bitcoin in just a few moments. Thank you very much, Brandon. We'll do that very soon. Riot blockchain, sitting right around its previous kind of buy area. I guess you would have to most likely brick this into a big rectangle. And you'd be looking at all of this zone down to here as you turn around story. So anything from around where it is now down to here. And this is where you're looking for it to hopefully buy off. Riot does give some big percentages. I mean, this is down, you would think, more than even the crypto market in some ways. Yeah. 79.61% was where it was up with Bitcoin when it was about 60 something. 4 hour looking much better. 2 hour, yeah, it's breached past that previous resistance. So again, a fairly positive signal, but really it's all about Bitcoin, this one. We'll talk about that in just a second, Brandon. Thank you for the donation. Justin Sand says 3 rate hikes was the expectation. Yeah, you might have 3 rate hikes as the expectation, but remember the market will be like, well, what about if we had a 4th rate hike? And that's why the market goes down in these ones. Market already priced in 3 rate hikes before the meeting. Yeah, I agree, but it was thinking, what if there's a 4th rate hike or something we don't know? Remember, that's the uncertainty. And again, it was going to do what it was going to do anyway, unless they came out and said, oh, 5 rate hikes or anything like that. Gary Sione says, Tom, from today's webinar, when you mentioned BHP, they are yielding 10.7%. Is the dividend safe? Seems quite high. The dividend will not be 10%, 10.7%. It's because they had a special div. So you're only looking at the last 2 payments. It'll be about like 4.5 to 5.5, something like that, Gary. There was a special div in there. That's why it was so high. Crisp looks like it's setting up. Yeah, a lot of the beamy kind of stocks are all setting up. Look at this. A lot of these CRISPR style stocks all coming through with potential lightning bolts here. Got on the resistance. Another stock hitting resistance support. You can see beam. CRISPR, very similar. Trying to base. Got a resistance here. And look, the runway is big for these biotech companies. I've said it for a while. Their year should be coming. Whether it's 2022 or 2023, the year of the bios will come because it is natural for them to go strong in this mid-cycle kind of the new cycle. Usually about 24 months on, but it kept this consistent all year. I've said it's too early. It's like space, except that this one actually is coming soon. So yeah, 2022, 2023, especially 2023, should be the years of the biotech. And the biotech is basing at this stage. Now, they are very risky companies. Okay, just remember that. They are very risky companies. But if we look at biotech for the year, check this out. This is the biotech sector. It's right on support. It's literally done nothing all year. You could go back to July of 2020. That is the pricing that you are getting. Similar to when we believed that pricing in May, You were getting July 2020. It is crazy when you think about it. And if you actually go back in a lot of history, you'll notice that it had that massive run on it and then went sideways for a very long time. So really, you're getting kind of almost like an August price of 2015 on the biotech. This is one of those ones where you need to know when you want to be in it, and you need to know when it is horrible. So remember, it's certain periods of time that tend to be best for certain investments. And you can also see on the weekly here, what is this? Oh, it's a long leg doji. Last time we saw this, we got a decision made down. It came back to the support. This time round, we want a decision made up. Jin Kim says, Tom, you're the best. Thanks very much, Jin. Appreciate that. And Lucas Reese, $5. Nice hammer on the daily for silver after hitting the 1618 fib and S1 pivot. Love it. Yeah, it's hit the it's hit those levels. It's kind of wicked down to the lowest supports. For a lot of people, they would have been stopped out, though. You've got to remember that. 2260 still remains a very key zone, I think, but this is a bullish hammer, and it could be the go sign here for a couple of things like gold, for silver, things improving there. US oil also improving after a bit of a shaky start. Thank you very much, Lucas. And yes, I still go with 2260 being a very important zone for it. Here's the US oil. Here's the downward trend. Boy, there's a lot talked about in today's video. Look at this. It's trying to break through that downtrend. It really is like a firecracker for Christmas underneath. And I hope a lot of people have been kind of following along on the channel. And you guys can only tell me this. Have you started to see the market a little bit differently recently? Has anyone started to see the market differently? I know there was like a eureka moment for me. And I started to see the market slightly differently from what a lot of people perceive it as, which is all this news and everything's going to freak us all out. And then once you actually start to be objective about the price action and follow the price action, you'll tend to find it better. Andy Petty says, nope, I still want my correction. There you go. So the market ends up closing at what, 47? Did it close exactly at the level we mentioned? 47.09. After hours, it's 47.17. So it's right back up there in the highs. 47.17. Professor Stabby says it's starting to look manipulated. Yeah, we just need to always remember, though, that while it is manipulated, it's not starting to. It is manipulated. So we'll find out that. We close at the resistance up here. We kind of expect, actually, for it not to blow through, but day traders will be looking for this type of thing. So if it busts through, a bit of a pullback through the session, and then they'll take it long, that's a big move coming off the double bottom into the resistance. I feel like this zone here, while it's going after hours still, it will probably try to reprice itself a little bit coming in. All right, so we had a question from Brendan before about inflation and Bitcoin. Is that really something that does work out for traders, or do we believe in that kind of thing? Well, Bitcoin's sitting about 49K. You'll notice it hasn't done enough just yet to get through this little downward trend, but it's certainly based quite a few times. Good signs here. First type of positivity we've seen in a while. I'm not sure if I necessarily call Bitcoin a good sign of inflation hedge. I mean, yes, I guess it's separated from the rest of the economies around the world, and in that aspect, it's good. But if the rest of the world went bad, I don't think Bitcoin's going to hold up that well either. Because this is all sentiment driven. So if the rest of the world goes bad and everyone's struggling and things are going crazy, will this become, overpriced and crazy and very, very high? I think there's like an element to it. And I would assign a random percentage of 25%. It will be like that. Is it becoming better than gold? Arguably, yes. I guess it is. Because people are moving part of the alternative asset into it. So you're starting to see people getting itchy fingers and moving 0.5% of their portfolios into this type of thing, or 1% into this type of thing, the crypto. And we know that the big governments around the world are looking to legalize it so they can tax it and make money from it. So I would pretty much find out that, yes, I believe it's there, but I just don't think it's like a full-on hedge. It would be hard to really figure out how it would play out in an inflationary, a really high inflationary environment. But we've seen some countries with really high inflation end up going towards crypto as their new currency that they're using. PS3 says finished up 4.6% today. Thanks, Papa Pal. Yeah, that must have been semiconductors for sure. KL says 100% crypto. That's right. I remember I've read your comments over the last couple of months. You've gotten out of stocks, is that right, KL, and moved into crypto full on? Sugar Booger, $5. Can you check out Microsoft? Surely can. So yeah, look, thoughts are Bitcoin is certainly, or crypto markets are certainly a very interesting part of anyone's portfolio nowadays. Obviously, they're not without risk, as we've seen. They could go up huge, they could go down a bit. I'm tending towards, my personal opinion is leaning towards the bull side, still here for a little bit longer. And I think they're a good part of what you should have. Now, do they fully cover inflation, in my opinion? Probably not, but they are certainly part of it. And I still think they are beating out gold and silver at this stage, because gold and silver have full manipulation on it. But just remember, Bitcoin has futures markets now, guys. And remember, since it's had futures markets, it often does trade very strange. So I think manipulation is fully in this coin now and fully in the crypto markets to a bigger degree than just the whales. We're talking Wall Street on an epic scale are now in this. In 2021, there was a big shift. They are now in this market. And I think we need to be aware of that. What do you guys think? Do you think they're all going to manipulate the crap out of Bitcoin over the next couple of years? Let us know your thoughts. Microsoft looked really good on the 1 hour, very similar to the rest. Double bottom like the Nasdaq, breached. Now it looks towards those highs over here, especially this 340 high. 342. Yeah, really nice little double bottom. Just like everything, they've all done that today. Everything's double bottom like this one, Sugar. Please look at Crowd. Sure. CrowdStrike, popular cybersecurity company, coming back up to the 210, previous base, resistance, resistance, resistance. You can see importance of this level. A really good quality stock at a really nice resistance. So plenty of opportunity here in market should some of these things breach through. Let's just think about how much percentage to the top this is. 40% on a fairly quality stock. So big deal here. Michael Cox, $4.99. Tom, thank you. My first 1K week because you took AMD for the week, bouncing off support, engulfing, plus indicators giving me the green light. Well done, very well done, Michael. I'm glad you're happy here. That's awesome, Michael. Glad you felt good and you're feeling confident in your trade. Just remember, whenever you feel overconfident, guys, that's when you're going to get your ass kicked. Can anybody tell me in the chat, tell the community, when you've ever felt overconfident? Let's say you get the Superman syndrome. I can't lose. It's actually not bad, this base, by the way. I can't lose. I'm the best. The market's easy. Everything's easy. Is that usually when you've taken one of your bigger losses that are memorable? Let us know in the chat. I'm very interested to see what people's opinions are on this. I'll say yes to myself. Facebook breakout here on this one, looking towards that 353. And then, of course, it still has a lot of runway because it's been at 383. So another one that's broken out at the end of today's session. And you'll notice these markets, they are holding around this level now and selling off just slightly. Gordon says, can confirm high net wealth individuals are moving into blockchain. Yeah, they're usually one of the last people that gets in there. And this is this is one of these big stages of the market where we start to see probably a slowdown in 100Xs and stuff like that from the bigs. But still nice returns from some of the cryptos. If you do a fib on BTC line, so if we go back to BTC for a second and we fib the entire move, I assume. So this can only be if you go to the daily and you're fibbing this whole move, it'll probably be about 0.5%. That's right. It's about 50% pullback. Yeah. It's a little bit less, a little bit more, sorry. More like 618. And actually, you know that it likes going 618 fib. So 50's here, but 618 fib is very, very common to be reached by the crypto, the BTCs. Dalton says, I'm too bullish. Yeah, sometimes you can be. Music says, how do I feel about UNG, United States Natural Gas Fund? I don't really feel super positive about natural gas. Natural gas has its own like massive jumps in it. And then as you can see, it crashes hard. If you're looking at natural gas, look at natural gas itself, and then you're looking for the resistance to be breached. So bam, bam, bam. Justin Sand says Jay Powell just talked about the importance of cybersecurity that might have helped pushed in crowd. I just think crowd is getting lower. I mean, it's a much fairer price. We're basically getting the December 2020 price again. It's been at $300. This is a much more reasonable price, and we have a reasonable kind of movement here, reasonable resistance, nice base formation. I mean, for many investors, they'll be looking at these types of zones. And it's not like crowd has acted horribly untechnically or anything like that. Andy Penny says 100% stay humble. And then Kamal probably referring to the overconfident Superman syndrome. Smoked myself on options. Oh, sounds like thing people Apple traders say. Yeah, they think it's pretty good. And Gary says I lost 130K from thinking I was God. Ooh, yeah, it does happen though, Gary. That's the problem. Sorry to hear you lost so much there. Muhammad says yes every time, and some people have really come through with a lot of those. How about net? Yeah, net's up. It's very elastic from having a good run on it. I don't know how to feel about this. Multiples is really what I'd look at it. I mean, you have previous resistance. Yes, that could be support. I was kind of hoping for a 110 here for net. But you can't ignore the technicals. So you go to like a 2 hour and see how it's basing. This one isn't as good as a base as something like crowd. So it's more of a guess. PK. But yeah, it's got a chance. It's obviously quality stock. Tack Winwood, $4.20. Thanks for the stream today. Great show. No worries, Tack. Thank you. Pretty much in line with what we thought, which was that the market was tending towards filling the gap and moving up. And it seems like it's been doing that. How about Roblox was looking at a dip buy? Let's have a look at Roblox. Crypto market's looking for a 50K plus on Bitcoin. We want that 50K to be broken so it can downtrend, stop that downtrend. Roblox 2 hour. So it's gapped back down after having that initial mass move after the earnings. Earnings went bang. 140 all the way back down. Yeah. Maybe like break of this during the day trade would be big. 90, so basically $100. And then we move back up to fill the gap. Other than that, that's all it. Wow, that net is volatile. Yeah, it went overpriced, massively overpriced. Music says he just blew his account with options. What were you doing? It's not good, man. From an investment point, yeah, it's around an area, I guess. All right. Well, look, guys, it is looking more positive. I'll put a video out a little bit later. I just jumped on to do a quick stream. Obviously, I wanted to see that FOMC announcement myself, and things were looking pretty damn good for the tendies. Some people would say US 10-year also jumped up a little bit, but still staying relatively flat in comparison to where most people would maybe think it would be today. We will do a video later covering all of the market indices, our thoughts on the crypto market, US oil, and of course, gold and silver. But most markets are up here. Most of the big tech has come back around. It's been some big moves. I'm not necessarily looking at all the big move stocks. I'm looking at just anything that's creating potential bases here. You know, you've got a lot of opportunity in certain stocks due to these bases. I mean, look at this one. You go down to a 2-hour chart. Let's leave it with this for the community. What type of pattern could this be? Anyone got an idea? Anyone got an idea of what this pattern might be here? Let me just quickly get rid of that. Head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders. That's right. Inverse head and shoulders. So TTW0, a stock that has been all over the place. And then back down. But we know it acts technically because it breached last time and it went hard. Take two. Look at that. 170, 173. Big inverse. There you go. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Thank you for joining us. Give us a like if you enjoy the streams and everything that we do. And I do appreciate it. And I'll make an announcement as well. We'll keep going next week, but then I'll probably take 2 weeks off. Be my first break in a long time. So I'll take 2 weeks off. Not next week, the week after. I'll still be producing some content. Probably just do the weekly show instead. So just do the weekend one. And that's just because, look, frankly, when Santa comes to town or Christmas happens, you've always got like a little bit of a slowdown in this markets themselves. Most of you should probably take a little bit of time off regardless, because you should. And we will probably just pull the show back down to doing one weekly. I won't do lives. So I'll do lives next week. And then after that, I'll stop doing lives for probably a 2-week period. And then I'll come back strong for 2022, feeling refreshed, feeling ready. And obviously, hopefully you guys are going to smash it out. So I'll make a few announcements about that on the channel moving forward. But yeah, thank you so much for subscribing, liking, doing everything that you've done this year. We're still going for another week, of course, leading into Christmas. Might have a bit of a Christmas special where we'll go through a really cool concept. And yeah, I'm looking forward to 2022. I think it's going to be an interesting year, but I don't think that in the stock markets, we can expect other, big banger years like 10, 15, 20%. It's going to be more of that refined 5 to 8% per year. And what you're going to need to start to do is learn how to actually trade, not just buy dips on stocks. And that's actually going to mean that you need to change some of the stocks that you're looking at. So some of these hyper stocks are no longer going to be good by the dip scenarios. They're going to be maybe good investments, but not good by the dip scenarios. You're going to need to get back in the blue chip, make moves on the blue chips. That's the way you get it done. Catch everyone. Bye for now. And yeah, it'll be good. Marvin the Marshal says, thanks, Tom. Going to have withdrawals for a fortnight. Oh, the channel's not going dark. We're just pulling back the content a little bit there for a bit. I hope you guys will understand. You better come back and start clicking again in the new year. Otherwise, the YouTube algorithm will punish the channel and all my good work is done. I'm actually terrified of that. I'll tell you that. I don't know if you can even leave, but I do need to have a small amount of time off. We'll give it a shot. We'll still keep pushing it through. Sec 109, Gordon Poljak says, happy vacation. Well, don't worry. It's not happening yet, Gordon, but thank you very much for the Sec 109. Next week, we're still going. I just thought I'd let you guys know if you're here, but we're still going for another week. Don't worry. Thank you very much, Gordon. Appreciate that. And Abhinav says, peace, bro. Have a good one. Play some Halo. Yeah, I'm meaning to give that a shot, actually. It sounds pretty good. A lot of friends have mentioned it's pretty nice. Thank you very much again, Gordon. Thank you for all the donations today and people that have liked the channel and everything. I hope you had a good day. I hope you weren't pessimistic on the markets. Really doesn't pay in scenarios like this when we know the Fed loves, even though they take away the crack cocaine, they don't take it away as fast as most people expect. So, yeah, all good. Have a good one. We'll see you in the video very, very soon. And someone says, Wyckoff. I can't help but have a look. BMY. You piqued my attention. All right, let's have a look here for Bristol Myers. I actually checked this out yesterday. I don't remember if I saw Wyckoff or not. Okay, so you're saying basically Wyckoff because of the maximum pain. Look, we did highlight this, funnily enough, in the webinar we did yesterday. Increase in volume, resistance breach here. Is it Wyckoff? I mean, you're saying max pain at this area. Yeah, I mean, in essence, Wyckoff is like this. Usually you see it in the middle, and then you get that breakout. You get it like a retest like this. But yeah, it would be fair. You've had like that false break to the downside. You've now broken to the upside, and BMY has a lot of runway. So I think you're starting to see the markets the correct way there. Langdon says, Tom, please check my 3 times leverage biotech. You're a crazy person, Langdon. 3 times leverage biotech. Holy moly. And Rob Lake says, thanks for covering the market close. Is to help my focus improve my results. Yeah, staying away from the open is key, Rob. The open gets you like all crazy, but the close just gives you just a bit more consistency. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Bye for now.